Something sensible happened this week, which is great. The vindication of a woman who fought to have her reputation restored and the record set straight. Former Liberal Party Minister Linda Reynolds winning her fight against a terrible accusation that was truly unfair and unfounded. Brittany Higgins had claimed on social media that her alleged rape had been hushed up by Reynolds to avoid a political scandal in the lead up to the federal election. In fact, Reynolds and her staff did almost everything they could to help and support Higgins. Linda Reynolds was so determined to clear her tarnished reputation, she mortgaged her own house to pay her legal bills. Here's how Channel 9 reported the result.
Brittany Higgins has been ordered to pay her former boss, Linda Reynolds, more than $300,000 in damages over defamatory social media posts. The former Defence Minister winning the long-running legal battle before declaring outside court there was no political cover-up of rape.
It is a great relief that my reputation has been finally and fully vindicated. Today, Justice Tottle has definitively established the truth. There was no conspiracy and there was no political cover-up of a rape.
As the Australian newspaper's New South Wales Bureau Chief Stephen Rice wrote this week, Brittany Higgins could have spared herself and Linda Reynolds the immense stress and cost of a defamation action with 2 words: I'm sorry. The slur against Reynolds and her then Chief of Staff, Fiona Brown, was all the more devastating because it was made by a young woman that they had only tried to help. Brittany Higgins had her own win and personal vindication in court when Justice Michael Lee last year found that on the balance of probabilities, it was more likely that Higgins was raped by Bruce Lehrmann than that she wasn't. It's not a standard, of course, that meets a criminal conviction of rape, but it was part of the ruling in a defamation trial brought by Lehrmann himself. The Australian Stephen Rice asks why, having been vindicated by that ruling, Higgins didn't just accept Senator Reynolds' request for an apology, but instead doubled down with offensive social media posts, amplifying claims that had already destroyed Reynolds' career and mental health. Rice reported that the judge in the case was abundantly clear. Not only was there no cover-up, but Higgins had been dishonest in alleging it. Perhaps the strongest part of the ruling this time around, have a close listen to this bit, was the judge's finding that Higgins had, quote, weaponized her story, and a vital part of the story was the false allegation that Reynolds had covered up the rape allegation. That's pretty damning stuff from the courts there. Higgins is now up for the $340,000 in damages and a legal bill for both parties' costs that would be well over $1 million, maybe even $2 million. But there is another part of this whole sad, sorry state of affairs that's really important to us as taxpayers and requires some clearing up or explanation by the current Labor government, I think, especially Minister Katie Gallagher, who was Finance Minister at the time that the award was made to Brittany Higgins and therefore had final oversight of it, even though the practice is to keep ministers out of such decisions and mainly would have been handled by the Finance Secretary. Now, the Finance Secretary does ultimately report to the Minister, of course. But here's the thing. In his ruling last year, Justice Lee found Brittany Higgins had lied when she negotiated that big multi-million-dollar workplace settlement. That money was awarded to her after just a single day of mediation. And Linda Reynolds was denied the right to appear at that mediation and defend herself. And the money paid to Brittany Higgins, the $2.4 million, was workplace compensation in a way for the way that she had been mistreated. Now, it's been found by Judge Tottle in this latest case that Reynolds' challenge to the compensation claim was soundly based, and therefore it was reasonable for the former minister to question why she was excluded from that process. So should we have forked out $2.4 million? And how was that approved and why? Andrew Bolt on his Sky News show this past Wednesday reminded us all of a Senate committee hearing back in 2021 in which Labor senators and ministers Katie Gallagher and Penny Wong were just indignant and so terribly outraged because Linda Reynolds had dared to suggest that the stress she was feeling might have been caused by the pressure of a political campaign against her.
A Labor under Anthony Albanese just grabbed and ran with this cover-up story. I mean, it's just so perfect for painting the Liberals as anti-women, and Anthony Albanese had a field day in Parliament. In fact, Labor Senators Penny Wong and Katie Gallagher, you might remember, they were famously dubbed mean girls by the late Labor Senator Kimberley Kitching, subjected Reynolds to questioning so vicious that she crumbled.
Senator Gallagher, I did answer your questions to the point that you ground me to the ground and ended up in hospital. But I'm back here. I'm answering questions. Answering questions, and I'm
Alleged that we put you in hospital.
You just
that
alleged-
I put you in hospital, Senator Reynolds.
You should withdraw.
Well, if
So you're the victim.
Is-
Not Ms Higgins, is that what?
Order.
Senator Wong, that's not what I'm
Nobody
saying.
takes pleasure in asking these
Gallagher.
questions. Nobody takes pleasure in asking these
Gallagher and
questions.
Senator Wong.
Chair,
I'd like to respond to
Chair,
that. That was an
having
empty
two senators yell at me at the same time.
I'm sorry. Well,
Activists also held a women's protest outside Parliament House, howling insults to the Morrison government. And there, rising in saintly white to the microphone, was Higgins, that hero victim, rising to the lure of the TV cameras.
But I don't believe people should be isolated, intimidated, and ignored after traumatic incidents.
But she wasn't. She was well looked after by her employer, it would now seem, and they made every effort to help her. Just a reminder, Katie Gallagher was the finance minister at the time that her department signed off on Higgins' multi-million-dollar payout. Although ministers are generally kept at arm's length from those kinds of decisions, so there's no political interference, and I have absolute confidence the rules would have been followed in that sense to the letter. And did you hear what Penny Wong said in that clip that Andrew Bolt played there? She said to Linda Reynolds, "Oh, so you're the victim now, not Brittany Higgins." What a low bully shot. What a mean twisting of the knife that was.
Well, if
so you're the victim. Not Ms Higgins, is that what?
Order.
Senator Wong, that's not what I'm
Nobody
saying.
takes pleasure in
Gallagher,
asking
Senator
these
Gallagher.
questions.
There's a lot of questions still to be answered here, and we'll be pursuing those answers, no doubt, hopefully, throughout all media channels. Senator Linda Reynolds, congratulations on your legal and moral victory over some very nasty political games. If you like The Other Side, one of the best ways you can support us is by signing up for the products of our sponsors. And one of our best sponsors is PIA VPN, the virtual private network that stops people spying on your internet activity. It'll keep you and your family truly safe from the prying eyes of big governments and corporations without slowing down your internet speeds. And you can watch Netflix or other streaming services using your regular accounts with them as if you're viewing from any country in the world. You can sign up for less than $3 a month and get a whopping 83% off the normal price. Just go to piavpn.com/otherside to sign up and you'll get the discount. And you'll get more info on those special deals if you check it out. That's piavpn.com/otherside. That was a segment clip from our weekly Friday night news show, The Other Side, which you can watch in full by simply going to YouTube and searching up The Other Side Australia. Then you'll find our full shows playlist. You can also find all of our full shows and our segments on our own website, othersidetv.com.au. That's othersidetv.com.au. Help us build a whole new Aussie media by joining us over there and joining up, signing up for the exclusive side.